Welcome to the latest episode of Peoria Connection. We have a jam-packed show for you today, featuring the marching band from Raymond S. Kellis High School. We'll learn a little bit more about our media and film students, take an inside look at our Family Resource Center, hear what is latest and greatest in the city of Peoria, and hear a word or two from our governing board president. All that and more coming up next. So pleased to have a very special guest joining us today from the city of Peoria, Jennifer Stein, the communications director. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
And I know in your role with the city, you have one of the best jobs, I think, in the city of Peoria. You get to tell about all of the wonderful things happening in this great city here in the Northwest Valley. And so I'm just thrilled to have you.
Well, thank you. And I agree. It is the best job because we really talk about and share stories every day and promote events, activities, programming all the time to our residents and visitors, and it's just a pleasure to do that.
And there's so much going on. I know you have so much happening in the city. Maybe talk a little bit about some of the things that are going on right now in the city of Peoria.
There is so much going on, and it's an exciting time in the city of Peoria. In fact, we just launched our first circulator, which is called POGO, Peoria on the Go. And this is really exciting because it allows our residents to get around to various restaurants, shopping centers, the library for free. And in particular, it's been very beneficial to students and active adults and anyone who really just wants to jump on the POGO and bounce around town. So we're really focusing on getting the word out on POGO. It starts in the P83 district, and it does a loop every 30 minutes up to about Happy Valley Road and Lake Pleasant Parkway. And you can download an app and in real time see where the circulator is to determine when you need to get out to your stop, and that has been going very well.
Couldn't be any more convenient. I'm hearing lots of good things from students that are using that. And I know Huntington University, right there in the heart of P83, it's a great pickup stop.
It is, and a lot of the students there use it, enjoy it, appreciate it, and we've just heard really positive, favorable remarks, and we encourage people to check it out.
That's exciting. So we're starting to hear quite a bit about the census. That's coming up, and I know our community is going to be hearing a lot more about it soon. Talk a little bit about what does the census mean, and what does it mean to our community?
Every 10 years is our national census, and it's absolutely critical that everyone is counted. Each person counted is worth $3,000 in city services. So it's absolutely imperative that everyone be counted, and it's easy this year. There are 3 ways to be counted, and new this time around is the electronic online counting. So you can go online, each person will get a PIN number, or you can use your address, and then you can be counted there. Quick, fast, and in real time we will receive reports to determine, okay, how many people are being counted and how many more, and which areas do we need to target promotion and education.
So thankful for technology, right?
It is going to be great because right now we're working on the awareness, but then we're going to make sure everyone participates, and that's the best way to measure that. It's secure. I know there's a lot of concern about that, but it is absolutely protected and secured. In fact, for 72 years, it cannot be opened. The information is completely sealed. And it really matters. A lot of our revenue comes from state shared, and that's based on population counts. So this census, every single person, including children, unfortunately.
Don't forget children.
Sometimes people from age 0 to 5, they don't count
their
babies, and so we want to make sure that.
Sure, and this has a ripple effect on schools as well. There is some funding and support services, of course, that trickle down through school systems, so it's very, very important.
Absolutely.
Then beyond the census, there's another really big initiative that I know folks in our community are going to be hearing a lot more about, and that's related to your general plan. What is that? What does that mean? And maybe what does our community need to know about that?
The best way to illustrate this is the general plan is the roadmap for our future. And it is another very important process that we've been working with our citizens through engagement the last year. It's a document that takes a really comprehensive view of growth and development over the next 10 to 20 years. So this will take us through 2040. And it really helps guide all aspects of city growth. Redevelopment, economic development, city services, how do we look at parks and open space, health and safety, public facilities, all of those categories are really delved into, and we're looking for citizen input on these areas to make sure that we captured our growth and what the vision is, what we want to look like and feel like and be in the future.
Well, and that's of course important because we think our schools really are kind of the hub of each and every community. And so what's good around our schools and for the city as far as transit, as far as so many different things, really does impact our school system. So we want to encourage our families to get involved in that process.
Absolutely, because it is going to shape our future. It's shaping our community. It's creating accessibility, connection. All of these are so important when people are determining whether to move here or to stay here. We want everyone to make sure they know it's a well-planned and well-run city.
For sure, it absolutely is, and we have enjoyed such a wonderful relationship with the city of Peoria. You all have just been so great to our school district, and it's really something that I think is a model for many other cities and school districts to look to or to follow. Talk a little bit about what's kind of on the horizon or what's next for the city of Peoria as you're looking at growth, new things that are coming online or that are happening in the city. What are some things maybe to highlight?
There's just always a lot in the works. I mean, for example, right now we're just really trying to come up with unique experiences for our residents. Placemaking has been a huge emphasis for us, where we want to create a place to gather, a place where students, parents, everyone can come join and enjoy each other's company, whether it be live music, whether it be at a park. We're trying to create those opportunities right now. We actually are partnering with ASU Project Cities. They're doing a tremendous survey to see where in the city we should invest in placemaking and what does that look like, and how will people utilize placemaking. So that is a big project. We have Harmony Park right now in Osuna Park. It's really lots of big instruments that kids can play and interact with.
Right.
We have at Driftwood Coffee in Old Town, a shade and water structure. So we're just trying to create those spaces.
They foster engagement and connection.
Exactly, and they promote healthy and well-being communities. So that's something we're really excited about. With that is just this movement for pop-up events. So we have Second Saturdays coming up. October 12th is the first day where we will have, Town Peoria live entertainment and pop-up dinners and art interactive make and takes, and lots of activities for people to enjoy. So that's kind of our focus. We're entering into event season right now, so you're going to see some new events mixed with our old ones, including the Monster Bash at our sports complex. Peoria Film Fest is coming back. Old Town Holiday Festival. So a lot of great things to do for families.
The weather's cooling off. Get outdoors and attend a city event for sure. They're so well done.
Yes, thank you. And then of course the biggest excitement is Paloma Park groundbreaking, which is our third community park, which will come online in about a year. And that will be another fully programmed, activated park for lots of recreational.
Well, I can't wait to see that. So much going on for sure. You and your team really does just a fabulous job getting the word out. There's so much going on in the city to engage residents in our community and of course the families at our schools. So we appreciate all that you're doing.
Well, thank you for all that you do too. It is a great partnership and we appreciate it.
Thank you. We'll look forward to hearing more from the city of Peoria, and of course we will keep highlighting all the great things going on in this city through our partnership here on Peoria Connection.
The 2020 census is coming. Make sure everyone gets counted.
So I can count everyone in my house?
Everyone who lives in your house counts for $3,000.
What about Meowly Cyrus?
Unfortunately not.
Does my baby count as a person?
Yes, your baby does.
Fergalicious is like our baby.
Aww, but no.
How about my crazy Uncle Herbert visiting from Germany? That's getting old.
Sorry.
My grandfather lives with us. Should we count him?
Yes, you do.
A bun in the oven?
Maybe in 9 months.
My best friend?
No.
He's here every day.
Yeah, but no.
What about this baby?
If he lives with you.
My Uncle Jonathan?
Not touching this one.
Dasher?
This got weird. Let's recap. All living, breathing humans residing full-time in your home count. So make sure you count them.
Peoria Unified School District is so grateful to have family resource centers spread throughout our district. I'm joined today by the coordinator for Peoria Unified's Family Resource Centers, Jessica Harris. Jessica, thank you so much for being here today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Well, we are so excited to have you and to learn a little bit more about what is a family resource center. So talk a little bit about the centers here in Peoria.
Okay, so our main purpose is to really provide families with the tools that they need to support the learning and development of their children. And we really emphasize building those strong families as well as getting children ready for kindergarten. So we do work with those birth to 5 before they're in kindergarten.
And what might a family expect that walks in a family resource center? Do they have to pay to come in? Do they have to schedule an appointment? Talk a little bit about that experience.
So everything is absolutely free. We are supported by First Things First, and First Things First works only with birth to 5. They're actually the only public funded entity that does that just does birth to 5, which is fantastic. We are so grateful for their support.
And we have locations set up now at which of our schools?
So we have 3 locations at Country Meadows Elementary, Desert Palms Elementary, and Skyview Elementary.
And what types of services would you say that our families can participate in when they're there?
So we offer a variety of things. We kind of do that 2-generational approach where we're working with the children, providing programming for them, helping to get them ready for kindergarten. But then we also want to work with the parents, and we do that in a few ways. We do offer resources and referrals, anything from questions about child development, questions about childcare, if families are in need of food or housing, medical, we can give them resources for that or referrals. And on top of that, we also really want to help to educate the parents on child development, on how they can support their children. So we provide parent workshops for them, but also when they come to the activities with their children, we are really modeling how they can support them. We want to give them information on best practices, why we're doing what we're doing, how they can do those things at home with their children.
Well, and the truth is, whatever stage of parenting that you are in at the current moment, guarantee is the hardest stage, right?
Absolutely.
And so there's also that
Absolutely.
comfort in being around other parents, probably, and knowing that you're not alone in this and getting some support.
And it's a great opportunity. We've really seen some friendships built between some of the most unlikely pairings. We've got the 20-year-old nanny and the 60-something-year-old grandparent that they meet, they talk, and then they end up taking their kids out together once a week outside of the resource center or having play groups. And over fall break last year, I think we had about 6 families while we were closed that got together and did their own play group at the park.
So you're building connections for our families, and that's so important.
Absolutely.
I think what's also really important for our community to know is how important, you talked about that birth to 5 just a little bit, but maybe you could expound upon that just a little bit, how that helps to really prepare students that are going to then transition into our schools.
So those first 3 years are actually the most important for brain development. The brain is just exploding, and we want to be exposing children to lots and lots of language, to reading, and to other kids. When they go to kindergarten, yes, they're going to learn their letters and their numbers, but what they really need are those social skills to be able to tell somebody how they're feeling, what they want, what they need. And so that is a big focus that we have in the centers. So if you can't afford to take your child to preschool and give them those opportunities, or if you are lucky enough to be home with them, but you still want them to have those interactions, this is a great place for them to come interact with other children, start learning some of those rules that in a classroom we walk, we have to ask before we take things, learning to take turns. It's just a really great opportunity for the parents to expose their children.
And there's some classes that you offer as well, and you have a schedule and a calendar. Maybe talk about some of the things that are coming up for the resource centers.
Yes, so we really work on social skills as well as introducing literacy into everything. One of the new classes that we're going to start doing at Skyview is called Little Rembrandts, and it's kind of an offshoot. We've always done a process art, and process art is so much fun because the families can come in, the children can just come and create. There's no end product. It doesn't need to be a craft that looks like this. It just gives them the chance to be creative, to talk about what they're doing, maybe get some emotions out. We're going to take that and tweak it just a little bit, pull in that literacy piece, read them a book, and then from that book, we'll talk about the art, the style of art that the artist used in that book, and then let them do their own process art using that same kind of style. In addition to that, we have once a week at every center what we call Play, Learn, Connect. It's just an open play, a chance for the children to come play together. The parents interact with each other. We offer a Read, Sing, and Discover, which is a book. They get to hear a good, high-quality book. They get to leave with a copy of the book as well for
wonderful.
free. Yep. Do some songs, and then they'll do some activities that kind of bring that book to life. And that's where we pull in a little bit more of that kindergarten readiness. There might be some numbers, some rhyming, you know, all those elements that they're going to need for kindergarten.
An incredible resource right in our backyard here of a few of our campuses. It's so exciting. So where can our community go to learn a little bit more?
The number one place to go would be our website, which is on the district website under the Families tab.
Wonderful.
And additionally, we do have a Facebook page that you can easily search. It's also linked to our website.
Well, our family resource centers really are living up to their name, providing such an incredible resource to our community. So thank you for all the work that you're doing to make those thrive.
Absolutely.
And you all can learn more about the centers, the calendar of events, and make sure you get all the information you need to participate at peoriaunified.org/Family Resource Center.
I'm Jason Reynolds, and I'm the Deputy Superintendent for the Peoria Unified School District. There's been a lot of talk over the last few years about school finance, and so school districts like ours have put together videos to help our communities better understand how schools are funded and where the money goes. They've used all kinds of creative approaches for these videos, and as a team, we sat down and talked about how we might be able to better capture your attention. We talked about doing animation.
Funds in the maintenance and operation bucket pay for the day-to-day operation of our schools.
But you're adults, not kids, and the video should appeal to your sensibilities. What about a musical?
5, 6, 7, 8.
But we're educators, not entertainers. So let's dispense with the entertainment and commence with your school finance education. Let's begin. Arizona schools receive their funding from local property owners, the state of Arizona, and the federal government. Local and state sources provide about 90% of the funding, and the remainder comes from the federal government. But unlike your own budget, the use of those funds is restricted by law on how the funds can be spent. Before the district can use the funding, it is split into two separate buckets. Approximately 96% of the funds from local taxpayers and the state are placed into the maintenance and operations bucket, with the remaining 4% going into the capital bucket. The 4% of the budget in the capital bucket pays for durable items that are owned or used by the school for many years, like furniture, buses, textbooks, and technology. Funds in the maintenance and operation bucket pay for the day-to-day operation of our schools, including salaries, transportation, utilities, and general supplies like paper. All districts are required to have a balanced budget and cannot spend more than is provided in the two buckets. If the money in either of the two buckets is not enough to meet the needs of our students, the district can ask the local community to pass an override or bond to increase the available funds. Overrides and bonds are different, and the funds they generate add to the different buckets. Overrides provide additional funds for the maintenance and operations bucket, and thanks to our community, a 13% override passed in November of 2015, which allowed us to bring back free all-day kindergarten and to provide salary increases for our staff, as well as support invaluable resources such as assistant principals, nurses, arts education, reading programs, gifted education, athletics, and extracurricular activities. Without the current override, the district's maintenance and operation budget would shrink by more than $27 million. This override will maintain funding for the staff and programs supported by the current override and allow the district to fund new student and staff safety initiatives, such as hiring new counselors and intervention specialists, as well as providing safety-related training to staff and competitive compensation for our teachers. If approved, the override will result in an estimated annual tax rate of $1.74 per $100 of assessed valuation for residential property owners. This represents about a $2 to $6 increase per month over the current override for homeowners in our district. Does school finance make more sense to you now? I hope it does. But if you have more questions about our budget or our override, please visit our website at peoriaunified.org/bonds and overrides or call us at 623-486-6100.
Well, you all are in for a real treat today. We have two of Peoria's finest teachers here in the studio with us on Peoria Connection. Bryce Budoff, Jeff Southwick, two of the media teachers. Bryce joining us from Centennial High School, and Jeff joining us from Raymond S. Kellis High School. So thank you, gentlemen, so much for being here. First, I just have to point out it's really unique to have you here in front of the camera because, of course, with what you do with our film media students, typically you're giving instruction and supporting our kids behind the camera. So thank you for stepping in front of it today.
It's a different position for us.
It's very unique, right? I'm so glad to have you. And one of the biggest reasons that you're joining me today is, of course, because a very elite award that just went out to your students and, of course, a reflection of you and your work, Student Production Awards. And your students received them, and it's by the organization that also produces the Emmys. So this is a super big deal. How did you feel when you found out that your students were receiving such award, Mr. Budoff?
Well, Jeff called. So Jeff has been on top of it. It's like as soon as the message was out, there was an alert that went out to everybody. And so it came to me through an email from him. Hey, you got to go check the registry. And of course, then after I went there and I saw Stephen's name, I was like, forward that on to Stephen. And that's when the excitement all started to roll and then pick up speed to kind of bring us to where we are really today.
So you sent that email, Mr. Southwick. So you must have just been elated typing that to Mr. Budoff.
It was probably the nicest email I've ever sent. Yeah, so it was a pretty wonderful moment. And we got sorry if I may, we got kind of turned on to it by Bryce had one of the directors from the Student Emmy parts come to his school, did a PSBN live stream. I happened to watch that with my class because it was during our class. We couldn't go over there, and that totally got us rolling on it.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure, you submit and you cross your fingers and you have incredibly talented students, but did you expect to see this? Did you expect to see your students go all the way?
Laura Gates is the executive producer, so she's the one who came out and spoke about it. When she presented it, it was more than just what students could produce as a package in the end. She actually presented it because the contest is different at the high school and college level than it is for the professional level. And so the way it was presented was that the students could also submit into skill-based. So they could submit and be judged based on their skill level and how they did with the edit, not necessarily it was the most award-winning production in the end. So for me, I saw like there were two avenues and potentially we were going to be able to take one of those. And at the time I had an intern, so I was able to kind of quickly place where we wanted to enter for the category.
And what was it like sharing with your students that they were receiving the award once you found out?
That was a super special moment because I have some of the hardest working students I think in the district. The hours that they put in and their level of professionalism I have always been just enamored with. And so I got to tell probably 5 of the hardest working kids in my school that they're going to be recognized. They have an opportunity to go to this, and we had 10 nominees. We put in 10 submissions and had 7 nominees.
That's
so
incredible.
It was pretty fun.
And I'm sure we're rolling some of the photos from that evening so all of our audience can see. I know that was just a really magical event that you got to attend and to receive those awards, and I'm sure the pride, you can see it just bursting from our students' faces and yours as well, because certainly I can't say enough how much this is thanks to the hard work and the time and the energy and the effort that you put into these students. What do you think this award or this achievement says about our media programs in our school district?
I believe it's just a validation of how hard they work, and it was said to me recently that we make it look easy and therefore some people don't respect what we do. And I don't believe that they don't respect what we do, but I do believe that most people have no idea how much work these kids put into some of these productions, how many hours they're there editing late at night in school. I'm there 9 o'clock at night sometimes, so they're getting a deadline. It was just a validation, and generally speaking, the kids that put things out don't really get to see an appreciation of it. They don't get to watch the audience watch it.
And since it was the content that he created, that content is also receiving attention as well. So for our district, this is bigger than just the media department. This is actually goes out to art. Mr. Panzer was one of the first to call to congratulate Stephen on the award because, of course, when we went out for the shoot, Stephen got to meet Rob and got to see who he was working for and really who ran the department. And so it's bigger. It was just a lot bigger than Stephen. It was a lot bigger than me. And I never thought when we hit submit that it was really as as enormous as it is.
Well, it's just like teachers, to give all the credit away, which is what you all are doing, but it really does speak volumes for you all and how you inspire students and the work that you do. I want to mention also that your media students, many of them participate in this thing called the Peoria Student Broadcasting Network, or PSBN, and I know the two of you run just incredible programs on your campus that help to kind of bring what's going on at our campuses to the world. Can you maybe talk a little bit about that?
Sure, yeah. The PSBN, the Peoria Student Broadcast Network, I believe we're right around 7 years old or somewhere around there. I believe it's probably the best thing that our district's ever created for community connectedness. When, I mean, there's so many stories, but I mean, we've had, over the past 6 years, we've had probably about 5 or 6 foreign exchange students. Most of them play on a sport of some kind. How cool is it when their parents are emailing us saying, I never thought that I'd get to see my Japanese exchange student play soccer for your team live.
They enter into these college classes, into the community colleges, well ahead of their peers who haven't had the type of exposure to this equipment that our students have had. So PSBN is more than just streaming events. Mm-hmm. This has been, for me, it's been to watch the students actually put together a production. So like in the classroom when we're creating film and we're doing commercial work, we don't get to see what it's like to really put together a full production. So it's neat to be able to talk to kids about an interview that would be nice to have at a halftime show, during a halftime show, or through PSBN, another program was born for us, a magazine show called The Other Half that we run. And through PSBN, we were doing mainly a lot of sporting events, because sporting events are very popular in our district, and our community wants them, and we keep driving, we're driving those. And our students love them too, and so we're out there having fun with those. But we needed another angle or approach to be able to cover other things. And so we created this other show called The Other Half, and in that show it's a pre-recorded show, mm-hmm. and then we would run that during a PSBN event. So we're using the platform PSBN live streaming. We're using that platform to expose our students, to show their work on air. We've played Steven's piece, of course, because we were so excited. So right in the middle of a game, when we had a commercial break, it was like, now we're going to take a look at some of our student work. So it's really been
award-winning student
work,
award-winning
student work. So it's been a really cool. It's been a cool way for us to be able to extend what we're already doing in our classroom. And
it's allowed us to showcase students who are awesome, just not maybe in the typical I'm the athlete or I'm the lead actor in a play that usually get those attentions at the school. So it really has kind of helped bring notice to kids at our campus.
You're storytellers, and of course you're helping to make sure that all of our students can be seen, not just the star athletes, but just an inspiration. The two of you are, as I know our other media productions teachers are as well. Thank you for what you're doing. A big congratulations goes out to you again.
Thank you very much. Thanks for that.
You can learn a lot more about our media productions as well as the Peoria Student Broadcasting Network, PSBN, at peoriaunified.org/PSBN. Well, I'm here in the governing boardroom of the Peoria Unified School District with a special guest that joins us today, our governing board president, Mrs. Monica Ceja Martinez.
Hello.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
So glad to have you. Thanks so much. And it's great to have you on to just talk a little bit. I don't know if most people know, but you have a really unique story as really being very just homegrown Peoria. You've kind of started here in our district and of course now serving on our governing board and as governing board president. Talk a little bit about your journey through Peoria.
Thank you so much. First of all, I would say yes, it is unique, but not unique to many family members in the community. My parents chose Peoria Unified for the school district, and I've been blessed to have all the resources that have essentially made who I am. I remember starting at Oakwood Elementary, going through and having Miss Ryan as my reading specialist, and in junior high I had Miss Schultz, who was our student council, and actually that was the first time I was in this room presenting to Dr. Erb as a superintendent, and who knew that I would be right back here. I went to ASU, became an elementary teacher for my passion for learning, started at Cheyenne, Country Meadows, Coyote Hills, coached Centennial Soccer, and essentially spent my whole life. And I need to go back because you and I were classmates at Oakwood. And then when I graduated, went off to Centennial, and where my pride is, but now that I have the opportunity to visit all the schools, anywhere I go, I love it.
Oh, you're right, and such a rich history in this community. And I know you mentioned Mrs. Schultz. I remember her from our grade school days, and she's actually still teaching right here in our district, so that's very neat. And I know a Centennial Coyote through and through from graduation. As a governing board member, you get an opportunity to travel around to all of our campuses in the school district. And I think there's some people that might think that must be kind of a special thing that only governing board members get to do, but it's really something that's open to our community, and we love the chance to kind of show off our schools. What do you feel when you get to step foot maybe back on the Centennial campus? What's it like to be back there?
There's definitely a sense of pride. I have two little boys, 10 and 14. He's not so little anymore, but he happens to go to Centennial as well. They challenge me. But when I step on, I'm stepping on now as a parent. And I hope that the students are having a remarkable time. And I reminisce about the time that I had when I was the school mascot. I ran for office and lost every year, but my teachers were so supportive and pushed through. Resilience was definitely a lesson I learned, and I'm just hoping that those students have the opportunity to try all those things.
And now you've moved into this role as governing board president. Talk a little bit about being a governing board member, and maybe for someone that doesn't know, our governing board elected officials in our community. It's unpaid, so you're not compensated for what you do, but what does a governing board member do?
That is a common question we get all the time. So speaking to the bullet points, a governing board addresses policy, hires, and works with the superintendent to set board district goals, as well as the vision of the district. We are elected by the community to drive student success, being responsible for our financials, being the fourth largest district. $220 million roughly is our estimated budget that the board has ultimately held accountable for. But if you just look at the day-to-day things, what I love about and why I'm a student and why I value learning is having the opportunity to elevate the student voice. Spending my time on the board, I wanted to make sure we had that opportunity, that we had a reflection of voices from our students. And so I worked with the board and the superintendent to create an event called Seats, Students Engaging with Administrators, Teachers, and Staff, where we get the opportunity to listen to their concerns, and then we prioritize it at the board level moving forward and driving those goals.
Well, you've done a tremendous amount in a short time. The entire 5-member board, I should mention, has done a tremendous amount in a very short time, as we have a number of new board members. But talk a little bit maybe about what it is that motivates you. And you touched on it just a little bit, but what motivates you to serve your community?
I'm grateful for all the opportunities that I've received, not only through the education system, but my neighbors were our umpires, and I was the first female to play boys Little League at the city of Peoria. So I not only didn't just have that experience with the school district, definitely our city of Peoria has been a great reflection of who I am. When I look at my diverse governing board, our community continues to grow. It is important that we continue to value tradition and honor that, but also challenge the status quo. Maintaining stability is important, but a process where we continue to improve, do what's right for our students and our community, essentially. I know that you've asked before, and community members ask about being a governing board member, and everybody should truly consider serving on this board. We have a very diverse board, and when you look at what you can offer, you want to look at skill sets. We do deal with budgets, but you don't have to be an expert. You have to have the willingness to learn and grow. You need to have work ethic. It takes a lot of time. As you mentioned, it's volunteer, non-paid. being able to listen and have an open mind so that you can drive change so it's a better experience for everybody is so important.
It is, and it's also important because when the board makes a decision, it's a decision that's collective by the board. So individually, it's not up to one board member, it's the 5 of you. And so we just really are so grateful that we have 5 board members that really are committed to education and to our community. If you can, kind of one of the last things that I want to talk to you is, what would you say to those maybe, whether they're in our community or not, that are kind of skeptical about public education? I know you went through this system, you have chosen, because it is a choice, you've chosen to put your students through our schools. What do you say to those that say, I'm not sure about public education today?
Well, and I would question even the word skeptic. I would believe that the right word would be a lack of understanding. I would encourage them to ask questions. We are in a public education system that encourages, at least from my experience in Peoria Unified, ask and keep asking. Ask for the numbers, ask for the outcomes. I will tell you what breaks my heart, honestly, is when I hear we failed our kids. It literally tears me inside, because my children and the children that I served as a teacher in the district have special needs, are gifted, wide ranges of backgrounds, and we have given them an opportunity to choose where they want to spend their life. And it's not necessarily taking a test, it is serving in a volunteer aspect. So I would just say it's a lack of understanding and a willingness to listen and take that information to make your own opinion and not groupthink.
That's absolutely true, spot on, for sure. Well, I have to notice, we've got your letter jacket here, and although I'm a cactus cobra, it's still always, I feel like I'm in good company sitting next to a fellow Peoria Unified graduate, regardless of the school. So I know we've proudly put on display here your letter jacket, and it still looks brand new.
Well, thank you. Thanks to my mom, they're definitely my support system. I will say one more fun fact is in my yearbook, I was looking through it, it said I was selected to be the student who would come back to every homecoming. And at the time, I'm like, no, that's not me, but look, I'm here.
It's happening, it's happening. Well, thank you so much again for joining us today, Mrs. Ceja Martinez. It's just a pleasure working alongside you, and I appreciate your time today.
Thank you, it's definitely an honor.
We are so excited to have 2 of our student winners of the recent Student Production Awards. They're joining us from Raymond S. Kellis High School. Macy and Michelle. Macy's a junior, right, at Kellis High School, and Michelle, you are a senior. So exciting. I have to ask, just right off the bat, what did it feel like when you were at that awards? And by the way, these are the awards, right, that put on the Emmys, so this is pretty big time. What did it feel like when you heard your name called and you heard that you were the recipient of these awards? Were you excited?
Yeah, I was very excited. I was surprised as well.
You were, I bet. Was that real?
Yeah, I didn't expect to win, so when I heard that my project was called up, it was like a big shock for me.
And what did it feel like to be at the event and surrounded by all of those who work professionally in media and film? Was that a pretty cool experience for you?
Yeah, it was really cool. One of my favorite parts of being there was just like supporting all of the other students that were receiving awards or nominees. So.
Were you able to connect with some of them? Hear a little bit about their work too? That's really exciting. Now, what's kind of your favorite part of media productions? What do you like best about it? Is it writing? Is it camera work? Is it producing? What types of things do you enjoy?
I like to create from editing because like I can put my creativity into it.
It's a true art form, for sure. What do you like?
I'd probably say editing too, just because it's when like everything comes together and I get to finally see like all of my work pay off to the final product.
The finished product.
Yeah.
And I know what most people see when they view your work, and I'm sure we're going to share links so that our audience can go in and share a little bit more, learn a little bit more about what it is that you have done to receive this. It's this beautiful finished piece of art, but really what goes into that whole production from start to finish?
Yeah.
A lot of time.
It's a lot of planning, a lot of organizing, like who you're working with, and reshooting scenes that you didn't quite get the first time and finding the music. There's a lot that goes into it.
A lot of time?
Yeah, a lot of time.
A lot of time. What made you want to get involved in media productions?
I always wanted to do something like videos or movies, and I didn't know there was a class for that until one of my uncles told me about the program, and I was like, I should sign up.
Should look into it, and it's paid off. Look at this. As a senior, you've got a great work of art to put on your resume. So what's next? Do you think that you'll pursue media productions or filmmaking in some way beyond high school? Do you think so?
Yeah, I have a lot of ideas that I really want to demonstrate, and I really want to show everyone what I can do and just keep going forward, and just continue doing what I want to do.
Well, I think there's big things ahead of you, and certainly with your creativity and the skills that you've learned being a part of media productions, you'll have a really bright future with it. What are you thinking, Macy?
Yeah, I definitely want to pursue a career in media. I'm not sure what exact path I want to go yet, but I definitely want to go in that route.
And you've got the foundation, of course, not just with this big award under your belt, but all the skills that you learn over there at Raymond S. Kellis and working with Mr. Southwick. Now tell us what we are looking at here. What do we have on display?
Our awards.
Your awards, and you're so humble about them, but they're beautiful and heavy. I should mention. Do you feel like you have to guard them with your life?
Yes. Yeah, that's why they're the trophy case.
That's why they're in a trophy case. Okay, locked away, and we keep them safe. Well, ladies, congratulations once again.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here, and we are wishing you all the luck in the future.
Thank you.
That's all for our show today. Be sure to check out peoriaunified.org/Peoria Connection for more from all of our guests from today's show. As we leave you today, enjoy a performance from the Raymond S. Kellis Marching Band.